Morning, everyone. I'm Jenny. As always, thanks for tuning in. Now make sure you hit that subscribe button down there in order to get new videos and content. And I'm going live next here on YouTube, offering some free clairvoyant writings later on this month. On the 26th, make sure you tune in 11 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, or 2 p.m. Eastern to join me to have a free reading. You can ask me a question. Only if you're tuned in, you're going to know, right? Follow me on Instagram, Jenny G Cousins. I'll follow you right back, and so on. So now let's get started with this week's cosmic vibes. We're talking April 11th to the 17th. Now, what's going to happen every day? What can you guys expect? How do we really work through this energy? So we have this full moon in Libra coming up on the 12th and 13th of April. Now, Libra is all about wanting balance in life. You know, like when things are off kilt, when things are off balance, what happens? Nobody likes that. We can all feel it, right? However, if you're Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, you're going to affect it the most. You know, we all get affected during full moons, new moons, and different energy times, of course. However, these more specific signs, you're going to feel it even more. So, which means you could all of a sudden make some instant decisions. You could all of a sudden end situations. This is relationship connected as well. So if there are relationships that you're having with, you know, other people or your significant other, this is the time when you're going to be like, you know, I just want to have things resolved. I just want to work things out, or I can't do this anymore. So really pay attention to that. Like we all are going to get affected with relationships, of course, you know, and it's not only just those signs that could end or new beginnings and all of that. No, but if you're, you know, like I'm saying, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you could make some more sudden decisions, sudden endings. You know, I'm ending my engagement, or I'm ending my job, I'm ending this, I'm ending that, signing contracts, and so on and so on and so on. Really pay attention, because you're going to be like, I just want that peace of mind. I just want balance and harmony in my life even more. I'm just tired of dealing with this, and that. So you guys might even find that old wounds once upon a time ago that we were struggling with, or that were traumatic, or that we're healing from, those are going to be coming up more throughout this week. And as we get to the full moon, you could be like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. So don't run from what is coming up. You know, we all have healing, we all have emotions, we all have experienced traumatic situations, challenging situations, you know, death, loss, all of that. So you might even want to be like, you know what? I just want to take some space for me. I just really, really need to like really look at this. So if you look back to April 2022, if you can remember that month, what was happening back then? Was there any like major significance with that month? Like, was there endings? What did you start? What did you begin? So on and so on. What happened back then? You could find that this week, this energy, even throughout this month, that certain similar situations could come up. So take a look back then. What did you learn from that time? So as these similar situations are coming up, you're going to be like, you know, wow, did I ever learn my lesson? So now I'm going to handle the situation differently. Now I'm not going to do that. Or now I'm actually ready to make that move. I'm ready to take those steps. So you could be more creative during this full moon. How many of you are going to howl at the moon? I used to howl at the moons with my Irish Wolfhound McTavish once upon a time ago. So full moons, of course, are emotional, like no matter what. It can be challenging. That's why I have Ganesh, you know, in the background here. So as you're going through these challenges, I always say, don't run from it. Don't run from it. There's a lot at play right now. There's a lot happening in our world, as we can all see. So this is a time to make more long-term plans. I've always said that this is universal 9 year, and the year of the snake for healing as well, and balancing. This is not a time to just boom, 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 boom. Let's book these flights, boom, 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 for different times of the year. These things are changing. You go back and watch my prediction video. I think it was December 2024 it went out, or January, because a lot of what I've said and predicted has happened and is happening. So it's like, even with myself, I'd like to get away. It's been forever. However, because of certain situations that are going on right now, I'm not going to be flying here or going to certain locations, because I'm like, no, things are a little too unbalanced, or, all of that kind of stuff. So if you do plan to book anything, make sure you take out cancellation insurance. Yeah, but Jenny, that costs extra. Yeah. It's like, if I rent a vehicle, I'm taking out the insurance. Do you want insurance, ma'am, on you? Yes, I do. I want the full coverage. I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but I just want to protect myself. I'm taking the full coverage. Thank you very much. That's just me. That's just what I do. Flight cancellations, especially nowadays. Yes, I would highly, highly recommend that. So you're going to see on this full moon, there's karmic endings. Karmic endings has been happening for a while now. Endings with toxicity, endings with relationships, jobs, whatever it is. However, when there's an ending, there's new doors opening up. There's new beginnings and so on. And I've had certain people say, gosh, my body is really tired, or, I'm just really on the go nonstop. So if you look back in March, as I mentioned, when we had that eclipse, go back and watch my other videos and see where you are now today. You'll be able to see that's why that happened. That happened. So as we're going through changes in our body, let's say if it's from surgeries or health or whatever it is, some of you could be feeling a little bit more on the go. Just listen to your body, because your body is now adjusting, especially that Mercury retrograde. Thank the God, thank Lord it's ended. That ended on the 7th of April, but we still have that post energy for a couple more weeks after. But you'll notice that things start to come much better, more in alignment, together, much lighter. There's still chaos. I'm not saying there's not chaos. However, pay attention to your body. So if your body's wanting rest, pay attention. Pay attention to tension in your neck and your back and stuff. It's like, okay, set stronger boundaries, take time out for you, have a rest, have a nap. Don't over push it. You get just suddenly burnt out, and boom, the universe knocks you back down, and you're going to be like, oh my God. So really pay attention to your body. Yeah, but we want you to do this and this and this and that. And you're supposed to go out and meet us here, here, here. Put it aside. You know what? I'm actually just needing some space right now. I'm really exhausted. And if people have a problem with that, that's their problem. It's not yours. You have to really think of yourself and so on, because you have been ending karmic situations and people that you just don't connect with anymore. You've been doing that for quite some time. You're going to see your self-worth more even this week, especially with this full moon. You're going to be, you know what? Now I'm getting my promotions. Now all of a sudden that dream job, is ready to contracts. We're going to sign all of that now. Things are moving forward, because those huge opportunities that came during that eclipse, you could very well be all over that now, and so on and so on. Some of you, like my huge opportunity that came, I turned it down, for various reasons. It would have changed my life in seconds. Like, oh my God. But we have to take a look at the pros and the cons and so on and so on with everything, no matter if it's a huge opportunity or a little bit. If you can easily say, yeah, that'll work, then you know. But if you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, pause, reflect. With this Mercury energy, you can still reflect, you can still resolve. You know what I mean? People from the past came back. What happened? Where are you now? What was said? Blah, blah, blah. Look at that. And just really, look back and reflect. What have you really learned from, this year so far? Like what where were you in January, and where are you now? Like, we're already April. So what was happening in January? Where are you now? What was happening the past 6 months? What was happening 2022 April? I don't remember. Some of us do, some of us don't. Sometimes if there's something more significantly, yeah, you're going to remember, right? So just kind of go with that. Just really go with that. And when you get a chance, because you're going to be going through that divine intervention within yourself, within your soul, body, mind, and spirit as well. More reflection, all of that. It's like, I don't want any more stress in my life. I've had it. Yeah, take some time. Go away somewhere if you can. Go by a lake, go by the water, go by Mother Nature, all of that. Go by what really gives you that quiet time to meditate and, to not get disturbed, to not have all these distractions and so on. And like there's so many people saying, geez, I wished I would have done this or this or that. Don't worry about this or that. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Just really, we're all human. We all make mistakes. So you're going to be reflecting a lot on that. And even as we enter the 11th here, your sleep is going to be off. How many of you have had even vivid dreams the last little while and so on? Write it down. As we get closer to the full moon, our sleep is off even more so, solar flares and so on, emotions up, emotions down. But you're going to feel that, gosh, I'm more aligned. I'm more grounded now. Like, God, what I went through was so horrible, or it was amazing, or whatever it was. You're going to be like, I just want to be grounded right now, because you're still recovering from that eclipse season. The eclipse season is over. It's coming back in September. So what happened to you during the eclipse season in March, you're going to see in September. So if you were resolving issues in March, no matter what it was, September comes around, you're going to be like, oh my God, like, thank God I dealt with that. Because if I didn't, oh my, things would have not been good, right? So that's why certain times, make sure you're doing what your priorities are. The other little things, they can come. They can come, but I have to go out and do these running arounds to get this done. Yes. But I'm here now, and that wasn't a priority, but I'm going to grab that. Yes. Right. So you're going to be a little bit more optimistic and start facing certain things even more this week. So even the, like the 14th and 15th, you're still in that after effect of that full moon. Don't forget, that full moon, when it comes, it does affect you, usually 3 days before, then there's the full moon, and then usually 3 days after that, after the full moon, then things start calming down a little bit. But as we're leading up to that, it's like hearing that theme. If you guys watch the movie Jaws, it's like dun 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 dun, right? So as we're getting towards that full moon, you could hear that dun 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 dun. So take advantage of this energy. So you're going to be like reflecting even the 14th and 15th. Oh my God, this is what happened on the full moon. Like, oh my God. You're still going to be reflecting on lessons learned as long as you are. Because when we haven't learned lessons with situations, what happens? We repeat it. So you might even find on the 14th and the 15th, wow, I got to get my health back together. I want to make some changes with my health. You could be making diet changes. You could be making like working out, or you could be like, you know what, I need to slow down. I'm going to be like setting more boundaries, or I'm going to be booking appointments for medical appointments or wellness treatments, or, whatever it is like that. And you could be like, you know what, now I'm ready to sign this deal. Now I'm ready to buy this new vehicle. Now I'm ready to sign the contract on this or that. So the 15th, 14th, and 15th, you're going to be like, I'm more creative now. Now I have a better idea. That once upon a time ago plan I had. Now I'm going to relook at it. Or, geez, I got to have all of this on the go, and then it stopped, and I haven't looked at this for a long time. You're going to get drawn more into it now. Maybe I want to go back and read that book that's been sitting there and I haven't had time. I'm just going to sit back, turn the world off, and I'm going to start reading that book. Or I'm going to start writing that book. Really pay attention to that. Because the 16th and 17th, as we get closer to the end of the week, you're going to be like, okay, now I just, wow, I'm tired, you know? I need some space. Horseback riding, I don't know why I heard that. I don't know why I heard that. Maybe some of you are planning on horseback riding or you're going horseback riding, you're thinking about going horseback riding. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely do it. Like I'm literally seeing somebody like, yeah, I'm so glad I booked this. Maybe that's where you're going. Because as we're getting closer to Easter time, some people they book vacations. Some people they're going away to see family or friends, or some people are like, you know what, this is my opportunity just to get away. So if you're around horses around this time, or you're thinking of it, or looking, something really horse connected. And horses are all about freedom and liberty and all of that. So when you get pulled to that, pay attention to that. So you're going to see certain synchronicity. You're going to be like, that's why that happened even more now. Now I get that. Because a lot of truth has been coming out, and you have just recently, oh, gosh, I'm glad I didn't do that. Wow, I'm seeing more truth with that relationship, with that job, with that opportunity, with certain situations that were hidden. Wow, am I ever glad I didn't book that flight because look at where things are now. Certain things like that. So you're going to understand certain synchronicities. There's going to be more new opportunities coming as well on the 16th and the 17th. So pay attention. As I mentioned, we can have new opportunities coming at any time. If an opportunity opens up and you're like, yes, you sometimes know that, yeah, that's what I want. That's the road I want to go on to. Listen to that. But if you're not sure, like, oh my gosh, pause, write down the pros and the cons, and be realistic. We can look at the fantasy of it and the perks. However, let's be realistic. Some of you might be getting relocated as well. Some of you might be planning on, okay, I took that huge opportunity in March and now I am getting contracts signed this week. I'm moving to that location. I'm taking this job, that we bought our property. We're now signing the deal, like all of those things. So this week, it can really flow nicely. We have the bumpy road, any full moons, new moons, all of that. There's always bumps in the roads. But this moon here, you're going to want to really balance things. During the full moons and new moons and stuff, it's not a time for surgeries. Sometimes we have to take surgeries on those dates, of course, and everything works out, right? Really pay attention to your pets as well. Your pets are very sensitive. So your pets is going to feel this energy and they might be not drinking water enough. They might not be eating. They could be acting a little weird and off. These energies affects your animals. So if you have any concerns, pay attention because there's more passings, more people pass, more pets pass during certain times, even more so. We could pass in any time really, but certain cosmic events and times, it can speed things up and make things happen even more. So let's have a little talk with the cards to see what collective message spirit has for you. I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium. People are like, Jeni, you still doing readings? Yes, of course. I do readings every day. That's what I do, soulworkwithjeni.com if you want to book a reading, by the way. So whenever I'm using cards, this is only here on YouTube. I don't use cards when I read somebody. I'm a clairvoyant, right? Psychic medium, past life akashic record, animal communicator, spiritual teacher, and so on and so on. I combined everything together with what messages are coming through. YouTube, we're using cards. So when I'm using cards, not every single person that's watching this is going to be like, oh yeah, I resonate. Of course not. But if you do resonate with the card, that's for you. Alrighty, so let's pull a couple of cards here. Excuse me. Alrighty, so I'm going to use my Aloha cards. Y'all know I love Hawaii. Whispers of Aloha by Angela Hartfield. Maybe some of you are going to Hawaii. Maybe some of you are booking a flight to the tropical island, Easter time or whatever. But if you are booking flights like ahead of time, let's say, there's different places I want to go to, but I'm not booking right now. No. If I wanted to book next week or something, yeah, right? I'm going next week. That's probably what I will do, kind of last minute bookings and so on and so on. Even other people I've talked to, I'm like, they normally go away every year or whatever. I'm like, did you guys pre-book? No. Are you actually going to go to your normal? No, actually, well, I don't know. It depends. Maybe we'll see what's happening. Yes, because as you can see, there's so much going on in the world. Don't even get me started. Watch my predictions video. So, anyways, what is the message from the 11th to the 17th? Message. 11th. My neighbors moved, by the way. Thank God. For those of you who know, who've been following this. Anyways, card that came through. Navigating emotions. This card made me want to go out and start painting again, just by looking at this. Pay attention to your creativity and what you get drawn to, as I mentioned. Be aware of the flow of your feelings. Yes, we always can get wrapped up in our emotions and our feelings with certain things. And this full moon, of course, it can be emotional. It doesn't matter what full moon it is. Full moons, we have a tendency to get more emotional during that. Even the smallest little thing, oh, I hate my hair, like any little thing. And because we have Chiron energy, which is, healing old wounds and wounds coming up to the surface that still needs to be healed. Be gentle with yourself. You're healing a lot from different situations. We all experience traumatic situations, sadness, deaths, like whatever it is. So you could find you could be getting a little bit more teary-eyed, over certain things and just people we've lost or pets or what you've been through and take that time for you. That's like that sacred time to really reflect back on everything and be grateful for time shared with people or animals and so on. And what did you learn from these experiences? And, very grateful for having that. All of these things, if you need to let go, let go. That's why God created tears. So, you might even want space for yourself. Take space, like just go by how your body feels, right? So as we're getting more in touch with Mother Nature, which will help you heal and let go and get grounded as well. Go by what feels right for you. So we're going to have a little chat here with Earth Magic by Stephen Farmer. Mother Earth. What's the message from the 11th to the 17th? Love. Now, in this card, love fell out. Compassion. You will have more compassion towards other people. However, make sure you have compassion towards yourself. You've gone through a lot, even with this Chiron energy coming up, old wounds, healing. Show yourself some compassion. God, Jeni, I wished I didn't do that, or wished I didn't say that. We all do that. We all can say things that we regret, or God, why did I do that? That's part of your journey of self-discovery, of learning. You can always go back and I'm really sorry I did that or I said that, like whatever it is, right? We're all human, we make mistakes. There's certain people that don't take accountability at all for any of their actions, and they just come knocking on your door and expect you to forget about everything and start new. No, it doesn't work that way. Some people are okay with that. Depending on certain circumstances, it's like, I'm not going to invite you back into my life if you haven't given me reasons to or apologized for what you have done and said or whatever. We all handle things in our own way. And that's self-worth. It's like, I don't invite you back into my life because I know my worth. I love myself more than to allow you to treat me like that or to put me through that again, you know? But Jenny, I can't believe that person they got back together like after what happened. It's like, don't judge them. That's their journey. It's not about you. So show yourself more compassion and put your hand on your heart. It's like, what is my purpose in life? Close your eyes, put your hand on your heart. When I had to turn down that opportunity, huge life-changing opportunity with the television network, let's put it that way. Like, are you crazy? Like, how much money they, and I'm like, you know what? My spiritual work and helping other people, I could have billions of dollars, I'd still be doing what I'm doing. And if something felt really, really right and it was at the right timing, then we might reconsider it, right? So go by what works for you and resonates for you. You know, there's always the pros and the cons with certain situations. Do what feels right for you, always. So I was going to pull this deck, but I'm going to pull over here Whispers of the Oceans and um, Angela Hartfeld again. I love her decks. There are many decks. I have like 30 decks of tarot cards I'm selling, by the way. If anybody here is locally wanting to buy them in Calgary. What is the message from our sea animals from the 11th to the 17th? What's the message? I'm an animal communicator too, by the way. Talk to your animals who are alive and your animals who have passed on. Yes. Okay. All right then. We had two cards fall out, and I really felt both of them. Normally, like if there's a few of them falling out, I don't, but for some reason I'm gonna use the two of these. Wow. So the first card we have is Facing Your Fears. Look for ways to strengthen your connection to the universe and others. Stay peaceful and calm in the knowing of who you are. When you face your fears, you liberate yourself. Like as I mentioned in March during the eclipse, all of the appointments I didn't want to face and go through, I booked them all during March, during the eclipse. It was priority I had to do. But whenever you do that and face your fears, you work through it, it's done, it's over with, out of the way, and you're going to feel accomplished. You're going to be like, wow, I'm glad I didn't ignore that. I'm glad that I dealt with that because that could have went really bad if I didn't, right? Certain things like that. So when you face your fears, you'll liberate. Just walk in your truth, be authentic. There's a lot of different people out there who are not authentic. Anyways, we're not even going to go on about that. The second card here is called Take Note. Your answers are being given to you. Quieting external voices and excessive noise will give you the chance to hear what is being offered. Yes. So you know how I mentioned Mother Nature, getting in touch with Mother Nature, going for a walk, going by the water, swimming, like things like that, not being around like distractions of noise. Like in the city, you're going to a mall or busy locations around a lot of different people and stuff. When you are in touch with Mother Nature in silence, you're only going to be hearing like maybe the birds, wilderness, the wind, just normal things like that. And what happens is when you kind of sit in stillness, reflect back on things, when you're not forcing your mind, that's when you're going to start hearing your soul speak, your gut instinct. You're just going to have that strong feeling that I need to say yes, or I need to say no, or I need to, like, all of that. It's really important, to take time out for yourself. It's important. You will get those messages coming through. So anyways, who's going to join me on my next live readings here? on YouTube on the 26th, Saturday, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern. You can get a free reading. Ask me questions. But how are you going to do that? You've got to be in tuned right here on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. Until next time, namaste.